Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, if I am to be brutally honest, I actually miss Jeffrey. I think she was wonderful because she would stand up there and she was always in the spotlight and she was always doing stupid things. And as someone who makes YouTube videos, she was a gift. She was marvellous. And then, of course, she's booted out of office and poor old Lorna never saw the light of day again. And we all miss her for that very reason. We've got nothing to laugh at. I mean, obviously, we've got plenty to laugh at because the rest of them are all buffoons as well. But her specifically. And so the election has come around and it gives us another chance to see dear Lorna Slater, to listen to the words she's saying and to laugh at the fact that she even thinks that anybody is listening. Well, I am listening, Lorna. I've got to be honest, I am listening. But I'm listening specifically because I know what you're proposing is always going to be absolutely delicious for people wanting to have a good roll on the floor, holding your belly chortle. And this is no different, except for one thing, because there's been something that I've been saying for some time, and they've gone and done it, haven't they? They've bloody gone and done it. Let's take a look, because the Greens have announced their manifesto. We're not going to go through all the items in the manifesto, but there are a couple of things that I think just need to be highlighted. And then we'll laugh at one, and then I'll just have to admit that I kind of agree with the other one. Here goes. Right, now this piece, obviously you can see I got it from the Yahoo News, but originally from the Glasgow Times. But it's this actual piece goes, I think it goes and mentions all of them, a sort of a brief thing in the headline. It's mentioning all of them. But we're going to have a look at what the Greens are proposing, because there's a couple of things in there which I think, as I say, need to be highlighted, and they are brilliant. So Scottish Greens to propose super tax in general election manifesto. Good Lord, just think. A Marxist party, like the Greens, want to tax everyone even higher. Good God. And we all know the damaging effect of high taxation when it comes to entrepreneurship, of opening for business, of encouraging wealth into a country. You put the tax high and people will flee with their cash. So not only do you not get the extra tax you think you're going to get by putting the tax up, you lose everything that you were previously getting from that money because the money's left the country. It's genius, isn't it? The Scottish Greens are set to propose a super tax in their general election manifesto because they think Scotland's far too successful and has far too many people building and trying to grow the economy and influence people and, invest in the country. They don't like it. They don't like that at all. The document due to be released this week will also put forward plans to introduce a £1,000 per head private jet tax in a bid to reduce the number of private flights, as well as removing tax breaks on aviation fuel and phasing out short-haul flights. Now, the £1,000 a head on private jets is something I've always been on about, because I've always been saying, they keep talking about, it's a climate emergency. Oh, there's a climate emergency. Well, there can't possibly be a climate emergency if you're still allowing private jets. If the emergency is as great as you say, just ban private jets. This isn't banning them, but at least it is starting to hit them. And £1,000 per head, I'd exclude crew, it's their job, they can't help it. But passengers on private jets have to pay £1,000 on landing. I get it. What I would also do, though, is I would suggest that £1,000 per person goes not into central government funds, but goes into a wealth fund, a national wealth fund. It buys shares and stocks and things for the country, and the country benefits. So over time it builds up, and so the rich who have got these jets and whatever, and they have to pay it. Absolutely fine. They're talking about removing tax breaks on aviation fuel. I think that's a bad idea because flights now, if you want to go on holiday, are expensive already. Imagine having to pay a lot more for your flight because of all the fuel. It would make flights for poorer people less affordable. And so what you'd actually be doing is punishing the less well-off in society by denying them the ability to go on holiday because you'd be pricing them out of the market. Again, Marxist policies, this time aimed at harming the poorer, the less well-off. Seems odd, doesn't it? Bad idea. Phasing out short-haul flights. Well, I think any flight under an hour that does not go across water, I agree. On the other hand, you must be able to provide cheap rail travel. If I can get a flight, and this is we all know we can do it. If I can get a flight from, say, what's my nearest airport? Yeah, It's a 50-50 toss-up between Luton and East Mids. I think, let's say Luton. Let's say I could get a short-haul flight from Luton to, say, Inverness. Now, that is about a 50-minute flight. Now, of course, you've got to be there 2 hours in advance, so it's 3 hours, right? Get into the airport, go. 3 hours, and I'm in Inverness. I couldn't drive to Inverness in 3 hours, that's for sure. I doubt I could get a train to Inverness in 3 hours. But let's say that there were a series of express trains and I could get to Inverness by rail in, say, 5 hours. Not unbelievable, right? The flight I could get as cheap as, say, 60 quid. Couldn't do it on the rail. Doing that by rail would cost me £300-400. So why would I go by rail? It takes 2 hours longer and costs me 5 times as much. What's the point? Of course you're going to have flights. Again, you can phase out your flights, but you've got to put in cheap, and I mean very cheap, very fast rail travel. Till you have that sorted out, you're never going to get rid of the flights. Scottish Green co-leader Lorna Slater said, "We're in a climate emergency." No, you're not. With all the evidence around us. No, you're not. It's not a climate emergency. If it was, you'd shut down Disneyland. It's obscene that a small number of very wealthy people are jetting around the globe in climate-wrecking private jets. Now, I've been saying this. If you want to justify your claims of a climate emergency, ban the jets. I get it. But you're not banning them. But at least, as I say, this is a start. She says there's no justification for something so needless and destructive, not when the stakes are so high and the consequences are so severe. Why aren't you in China, Lorna? Why aren't you over in China telling them to cut their output? Because China and India are responsible for 75% of the world's output of all this stuff. You know, carbon gases and things like that. 75%, 2 countries. Why aren't you over there doing it? They chase you out of town. That's why. Anyway, she said that she also went, and doesn't talk about here, but she wants to bring in also a super tax so that people earning more than £100,000 a year will pay increasing amounts of income tax as you go up. Now, the thing about that is you will drive all those high worth individuals out of Scotland. Why would you stay? You're already paying the most tax anywhere in Britain. It's already becoming problematic. HMRC are confirming that people are leaving, that people are not investing. There's all sorts of things going on already. And you want to make this even worse. Everybody with money will leave. They'll take their money with them. And Scotland will go downhill so fast you think you're on a roller coaster. It's a joke. These people are so stupid. You can't get over it. The only saving grace is Lorna is never, ever, ever going to be anywhere near power. The Greens will never, ever have the ability to impose this rubbish. Aren't we all glad of that? Coming up. So bonkers people, bonkers ideas. No idea on how to run an economy, but I do agree with the plane tax. Absolutely do. I had actually banned private jets, just simply so that we're all in it together. Because if we are all in it together, let's bring the top down, rather than, you know, keep treading on the faces of the poor. You know, we're at the bottom. We haven't got a chance of fighting these people, while those at the top swan around on their private jets, quaffing champagne and eating caviar. Let's ban private jets and see all the faces of all these politicians, especially the Europeans who love swanning around in private jets, and say you can't land that here. It's not, it's not an airline. Only airlines. And little personal planes with piston engines, fine. They're only cars, really, aren't they? Let's keep them. I don't mind that. But private jets, you want them, you pay for them. Any private jet lands in Britain, you just seize it. That's it. If they want it back, they pay the value of the plane to get it back. Nobody will come. Be great. Anyway, thanks very much. Stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.